problems with the married put. If you know what a married put is already, then you could probably fast forward a couple minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain the idea of a married put, but actually you should probably stay tuned because this whole video is about why people misunderstand what a married put actually does. Now, this is Guild. It's a very popular biotech stock, and it's quite volatile. Now, a lot of people want some biotech in their portfolios, so they'll buy something like Guild or IBB and they'll hold on to it. But the problem is, times like this, from December to February, we had a huge drop in that stock. People don't want to be holding on to stock that's dropping while it's dropping. So let's say you're a long-term investor, you really like Guild, but this drop has pushed you to the limits and you're thinking of selling. Well, you can completely avoid that conundrum of having to determine whether to sell or whether to continue holding if you use a married put, supposedly. Alright? So the idea is you like the company Guild, but you're afraid Guild's going to fall. You want to hold on the stock, but you're afraid that you're going to lose value in the stock. After all, if a stock drops 20%, it needs to go back up 25% to get where it started. So it's harder to climb up than it is to fall down. What people do is they apply something called a married put. What a married put does is gives you downside protection. But the deeper you get into options, the more you understand that what a married put really is simply a long call. Alright, so I'm going to give you an example of a married put. We're going to use Guild. We're just going to click on married put here and we're going to see some married put choices. I like to arrange them by minus vega, negative vega, or the lowest vega, because usually when a stock falls, vega is going to rise, and if you have a high vega for your options strategy, you're going to lose a lot of money really quickly. So I generally will go with something that's very low vega. In this case, we have this specific married put strategy. For every 100 shares of Guild you have, what you do is you buy one put. Now that put needs to be under the stock price. So I forgot to check where we're at, but we're at 101. Okay, so there you go. We're at 101. The strike price is $10 below it. So that limits our loss to the difference between 101 and 91 times 100. So that's roughly $1,000. Now, you don't have to worry so much. If you like Guild, you can hold on to it for a long time, and your max risk is only $1,000 as opposed to whatever you put in the stock. So in this case, if you spent, if you got 100 shares, you're going to be spending $10,000 on this stock, and if you don't have the married put, your maximum risk is $10,000. If you do have the married put, your maximum risk is only $1,000. Now here's where people misinterpret what the married put does. People think the married put is a way of protecting you downward. So let's say you think Guild's about to fall, you buy a married put, and you can profit from a downward direction. That's not necessarily true. In fact, I would say it's outright wrong, because it's the equivalent of saying you profit when a stock falls and you're holding a call option. Now, to understand why this is, you've got to go back to what call options and put options are when they're used in tandem. So if you buy a call option and you sell a put option, what you get is long stock. Selling a call option and buying a call option and selling a put option with the same strike prices is the exact same as holding the stock long. It's called a synthetic long position. Now what you can do with all of these is, if you mix them up and add, we just use what I would say is equations with words to understand exactly what we're holding. So remember, a married put is long stock plus buy a put. Now that equals, remember, long stock equals buy call plus sell a put, right? So we're going to replace the long stock with this equation. So that gives us, I'm going to do it like a math equation. So that gives us buy a call plus sell a put, that's the same as long stock, and buy a put. So think of this as a proof. Here's a married put, sorry. Here's a married put. It's long stock plus buy a put. Now the long stock becomes buy a call, sell a put plus buy a put. Now the sell a put and the buy a put cancel out, so essentially what you get is buy call. Is a mathematically appropriate way. Okay? So a married put when you're already long stock is the same as buying a call. So you could equally, almost the same, is selling your entire position and buying a call instead of simply buying a married put. Now there are pros and cons to each, but my main idea here that I want to get across to you is that when you're using a married put, you're still very long on the stock, just like you would be if you had bought a call option. Your delta here is 90. So what that means is for every $1 increase, on average what you're getting is a $90 increase in your options strategy. So if Guild goes up by $1, you've gained $90. Now if you didn't have that put there, you would gain $100. So the put is kind of dragging you down, but it's not putting you in a negative, in a bearish position. So if your goal of a married put is to gain some profit when Guild falls and you're holding Guild, you're doing the wrong thing. What you actually need to do is create what's called a synthetic strangle. And I'll show you how that works. So let's say instead of the married put, we use a synthetic strangle, and I'll show you the definition here. The synthetic strangle is long stock plus buy two puts. All you're doing is buying an extra put. Now when you do the equation again, we could just go back to here. The long stock part is still this, but now you have buy a put two times, right? Buy a put plus buy a put. Now the equation, after canceling, what you get is buy a call and buy a put, and that's called a strangle. Now the strangle allows you to profit when Guild goes up and when Guild goes down. So now you are hedged for both directions. You're going to profit no matter which way Guild moves, as long as it moves far enough. So how do you set that up? It's the exact same as a married put. You just change it to 2. That's all you got to do. Now I'm going to give you an example of this. I'm going to show you the risk reward properties, all this stuff down here for the synthetic strangle. So I'm going to go ahead and set that up real quickly. I'm not even sure if it offers it in here. There we go. Long, I don't know, we'll figure it out. Alright, so this is exactly what I talked about. We're going to change that strike price to the one we saw before, which was $91. Significantly low. And now, unlike the married put, where you're spending $42, you're now spending $80. But the advantage of that is that you really do get to profit when Guild falls. So what you got is, as long as Guild goes downward, let's check out. So here now your Vega is doubled. Theta is also doubled, so that's what you need to worry about. And you're dropping in Delta. But the idea now is that you have a married put plus another put. So you can sell one of those puts if it goes downward enough to be profitable, and you can leave the other put in your portfolio and you're still protected from the downside. So if your goal was to minimize the risk, that's what you get to do. And your max profit is now unlimited. It's unlimited before, but the calculation for the married put, where are we? Oh, this is the married put. The calculation for the married put gives a max profit only in the upward direction. Now we get a max profit in the upward and downward direction. Now technically it's not maximized because as far as Guild can go is to 0, but you get that nearly unlimited. You get the full profit if guild goes bankrupt. So by adding another put to your married put strategy, what you get is what's called a synthetic strangle, and it really does give you unlimited profits in both directions, theoretically. And now you're positioned for both bullish and a bearish rally, whereas for the married put, you're only positioned for a bullish rally, and that married put simply gives you downside protection. It's not to profit. So if you didn't understand that about married puts before, now you do, and you'll be able to make a better decision as to when to buy a married put and when to buy a synthetic strangle. The general idea is, if you're worried that your stock is going to fall temporarily and you want to minimize the downside if you plan on selling it, then you go with a married put. But if you're looking to take a profit when there's a dip like this, you would take a synthetic strangle, and once that dips, you sell one of the puts if you want to maintain a married put, or you sell both of the puts if you want to just transition back to holding the stock long, in which case your profit would be double, of course, but your risk would also be technically unlimited because it can fall down to zero. So that's it. I hope you didn't mind my limited use, or my liberal use of the word unlimited, but that's the general idea. If you want huge profits in both directions, you've got to double the puts you buy to make it into a synthetic strangle instead of just playing the married put outright. Alright, if this video was helpful, please like and subscribe it. And if you have any video requests, leave them down below. I will make sure that I read them, and if the request is reasonable, I'll make a video for it. That's it.